Hi, Neil. Can you hear me? Okay. Seems I'm unable to hear you, Neil. Let me. Okay, Neil, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you now. That's good. This is a new platform for me, so I'm having a little trouble
Oh,
now,
okay.
but I'm glad we made it.
Me too. How was your Thanksgiving?
Well, it was good. I'm in Jamaica, so they really don't. They don't celebrate it here, so it's an American holiday. So,
Oh, okay. Where are
yeah,
you?
excuse me?
Where are you?
In Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is that where you
So,
live?
half the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, I don't see, there's one person in the chat that's on, or that was on. Um, I don't see anybody quite yet. We're gonna give it a few minutes
Of
because,
course. That's fine.
yeah, let's give it 5 minutes and see what happens.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I had quite a few responses, like 89 people said they were going to show up. So I'm hoping at least some of them come.
Oh, good. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that would be nice. But it's my first live stream. So, oh, John's here. John Clark. He's a member of our board on It's a New World. Hey, John.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, and there's Tim is here as well. Okay, so there are people here. Good. It's good to see you all, or hear from you all. Good, good. So, yeah. So my Thanksgiving was pretty uneventful, except for calling my kids and stuff like that here.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So they don't have big turkey sales in your part of Jamaica?
No. Last year I was here for Thanksgiving too, and we had turkey neck. We could find turkey neck, but we couldn't find a turkey. So, but
Okay.
it worked.
Okay.
It all tastes the same. Yeah. So, all right. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about your book a little bit too
Great. Sure.
today. Um,
Um,
I haven't read it or anything, but it sounds
well,
interesting. Yeah,
thank you.
I know a little bit of the backstory.
Sure.
But maybe we'll kind of go into that here in a few more minutes.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was very busy. We um, I have some buddies who well, I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan,
Uh-huh.
and my buddies were New England Patriots fans. So we went over to the guy's house, and the Vikings beat the Patriots at the last minute. So it was rather exciting. So we did the traditional guy stuff. We scream at the TV, we root for our team, we eat, but they're all good guys. They're all, they respect their wives. They're good, involved dads. They're the guys that you want to hang out with.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's we have choices in this world, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And then our daughter Hannah, the one that the book's about, she spent 2 days preparing the meal because she likes to make everything from scratch.
Oh wow.
So we had a great meal, and we had it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and last night. We finally had the last of the leftovers on Monday,
Oh,
so they were good.
they last a while, don't they?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. All right. Let's see here. So I'm not getting, for some reason, I'm not getting that people are here on my live thing. But so this is, it's like news. So what we'll go ahead and we'll get started because there could be multiple people on here, and I just don't know it.
Sure. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the backstory of your book.
Sure. I would like to have the camera so I can display it too, if I can.
Okay, how do I do that? Let me
Well,
figure out how to
my
do this.
my camera is on my end.
Okay, let me just figure this out here.
Sure.
Um, okay, I just turned off my own. uh, let's see here. Bear with us, everybody that's watching. We're still figuring this all out. All right. Camera.
Well, I can still talk about it as you're
Yeah,
looking.
as I'm trying to figure this out.
Sure. My name is Neil Tift. I've been working with fatherhood programs, developing resources for fathers, especially low-income fathers, for the past 32 years. I currently work with Native American Fathers and Families Association in Mesa. So we work with Native dads. I'm a birth father of one. I'm an adoptive father of two. I'm a foster father of many, many, and I'm a grandfather of 16. And our youngest daughter, Hannah, that we adopted at birth, who has special needs, when she was 8, she asked me one night when I was making dinner, she said, "Dad, what's for dessert?" And I just said, "Pickle pie." And her response was, "Oh, yuck." And that was the seed for this book that we came up with. It's called Hannah's Yucky Alphabet Soup. So the whole idea is it is food, but it's not food that you traditionally would assume people would have, like lobster lollipops or okra onion oatmeal. And the idea
Ah,
of dandelion donuts for Denise. So it's a children's book. It's 26 letters of the alphabet. It teaches alliteration. It's balance between girls and boys. It portrays children of many different cultures. But the idea is to get children sort of thinking outside the box a little bit. And so we have just had it printed in September,
okay.
and we have a friend that's working on a website, and it hasn't been finished yet. But we're hoping to get it up within the next few days because I'd really like to be able to market it for Christmas, for the holidays. And the idea for the book is that the money that we'll make off the book will go into helping foster children, because my wife and I have been foster parents for the past 27 years. And so our
Hmm.
interest is seeing children who often don't have a voice, to give them more opportunities to be heard and to be placed in really great homes.
Right, right. Okay. I'm still trying to figure out this camera thing. I apologize
Okay, not a
for
problem.
that.
I'm
Um,
not photogenic at all, so it's not me I want people to see at home. It's the
right, your
book.
book, though. Yeah,
The
yeah.
book, yes. Mhm.
So, what is the book? You said it goes by like A through Z, right?
Yes. The idea is that, for example, we can start with um, uh, let me just start. I'm taking care of something that's going off. Okay. The
Okay.
Zara eats apricot, almond, au gratin with apple cider in the attic. So the idea is teaching children um, reading skills. It also says teaches alliteration. And the idea is that it's multicultural, so it shows children of different cultures eating different types of foods. But
Oh, okay.
it goes
Okay.
through the
Yeah.
26, as I said, 26 letters of the alphabet.
I'm sorry I missed that. I know you said that before, but I was busy trying to get your
Of
video
course,
on, so I kind
no,
of missed that.
that's
I
fine.
apologize. Um, so,
And part of it was our daughter Hannah, who's now 26. She's high functioning Asperger's. Her birth
oh,
when
okay.
Hannah was born cocaine exposed and with fetal alcohol effect. So
Oh,
Hannah was medically clobbered really when she was born.
mhm,
Cocaine babies go through withdrawal, and they
right.
really don't like to be touched. And obviously, you have to touch and stroke and coo and cuddle and rock
Mhm,
babies. But she was one that didn't like it, and so now, even at 26, she's still living at home. We're hoping that someday she'll be able to have the skills to move out. Cognitively, she's fine. It's her emotional mood swings that are the issues she's working on. But like if I get home
right.
from work tonight, I'll walk up to her, and she's not a hugger, but she'll let me kiss her on her head, and so
Mhm,
I'll hug her, and she looks for it. I mean, but she's just part of the effect of, we think, the combination of the cocaine, the alcohol, and some
mhm.
other effects when she was in the womb have affected the mood swings that she experiences, and also some of the other characteristics of high functioning Asperger's.
Which is why our conversation is so important today. Have fathers involved and to kind of try to prevent some of that stuff from happening, and work on emotions and emotion regulation, and to teach men
Yeah.
more about that stuff.
Yes, part of my work, both here at Native American Father and Families Association, my wife and I also do training on the side. We do consulting and staff training on how to help agencies become more father friendly and help their programs become more father inclusive. Well, then we also do training for parents themselves. But my focus, as I said, for the past 32 years has been on father inclusion and helping dads be more involved in the lives of their families. So
Right.
the work that we do with fathers is extremely important because when you look at the system, just the overall system in the United States, there are a tremendous amount of resources for mothers. And we want to be clear, there should be. Fatherhood work is never about taking anything away from moms, but it's
Mhm.
adding to dad. Because when you look at like maternal
That's
and
just
child
as
health,
important.
yes, maternal child
Yes.
health is a federal agency that offers wonderful resources. But when you hear the title maternal and child health, there's somebody
Mhm.
missing in the family equation. WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, offers nutritional supplements to family members. But again, there's somebody missing. Um, the Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies is in 36 states around the U.S. When I was living out in D.C., I was asked to serve on the national board of Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, and they asked how they could make it more father inclusive. Um,
Mhm.
so a lot of this work, like I said, is keeping everything for moms, but finding ways to open doors for fathers, especially low-income fathers, because a lot of times they're the ones that are most in need. If they're
Yeah.
not employed where they can pay child support, if they're not married to the mother, they have no legal access to the child unless the courts or the mom allows them. So a lot of our work is finding ways to help fathers. Uh, and
Yeah.
one of the
Sometimes I think or I feel like fathers aren't given enough support, honestly,
I
um,
agree.
in children's lives, and especially in America. Um, Men, I see a difference from Jamaica and America, a huge difference. Okay,
Okay.
the men here in Jamaica are free with their emotions. you'll see tears just running down someone's face. They're not bawling per se, but if their emotions are overwhelming, they will cry, here. So more so than in America. I don't see that in America. And where men can feel free to express their emotions.
I I agree. I think one of
Yeah,
the, at least in the dominant culture, in the European American culture in the United States, there are so many messages that boys get about masculinity, and a lot are good and a lot are not so good.
yeah,
And so I think that the whole idea of what we offer, what we allow our boys to express, that we tell our boys, big boys don't cry and big boys
yeah.
aren't afraid. And
And
when boys learn and internalize,
yeah.
excuse me, I have to unplug my phone now.
That's
Uh,
okay. I got a weed whacker going in the background. And I'm just trying to close out the sound by the curtains. Um, but
sure,
anyway, even in the Bible, Jesus wept. I mean, that's the shortest verse in the Bible, but I think is one of the most powerful verses in the Bible that, Jesus wept too. And, he's the Son of God. So if he can weep, any man can weep.
that's
We
right.
all feel, and we all feel intensely at times. And, I pray for the men that, don't feel like they can express their emotions and stuff. But, that's why I feel it's so important for you to be on here today and to speak to a lot of men about that. And I,
Sure.
I know we spoke a little bit before. We did an interview earlier. Um, we did a
Um,
little bit earlier about how men kind of express their feelings with each other a lot differently than women might. You were talking about women, kind of will call up a girlfriend and go, "Hey, oh my gosh, this is happening in my life," blah, 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 that kind of thing. Um, but men, they have to kind of be connected through an activity you were talking
yes,
about.
yes. It's pretty common, I think, in many cultures in the U.S. for women to just get together with a lady friend to talk. But most guys don't call their buddy and say, hey Malik, can we just get together and talk? Guys tend to not do that. We gather around a task, a common interest. So it's tinkering under the hood of a car, or building something, or hunting, or fishing, or bowling, or golf, or playing poker. That when men gather around a common interest, then they're able to share those emotions. I get together with a group of guys the first Friday of every month, and we play poker. And we have a great time, and we tell jokes, and we tell stories, and we talk about our kids and our grandkids, and we share these wonderful things about our lives. But if Manny were to ask us just come over and sit in his man cave and sit and talk, no guys would show up. It's just it it it's a difference. And when we want to work effectively with men in their role as men, or men in their role as fathers, we need to do things that work how men want to perceive and interact with the world, because their men's learning skills tend to be different than women's learning skills. And so they're not opposite, but a lot of times they're just different. So when we respect those, it tends to be more effective. And when we get back to that, if big boys can't cry and big boys can't show fear, it often comes out as anger.
Right.
And when men get angry, we tend to get, well, if we don't have healthy emotional regulation skills, the law gets involved. And as a
Right.
result, for
And then there's
every woman that's incarcerated long term in the United States, there are 13 men that are incarcerated. That gender disparity, locking up men at 13 times the rate we lock up women long term, is a result. One of the primary reasons is lack of emotional regulation. If a guy gets angry and hits his girlfriend, or hurts his children, or drinks and drives, or gets into a bar fight, or all the things that people do not react wisely when they get angry, and they don't have the skills, especially the coping skills, to make those distinctions. They tend to get locked up, and we know that once men are incarcerated, they often come out worse than when they went in.
Yes, they become yeah, institutionalized, and it makes it harder for them to survive as they get out. Um, Actually, my mother had a cousin that happened to, and he just kept committing crimes so he could go back to prison. So, yeah, I understand that it makes it harder for them to survive once they've been in once. So,
I agree with Chris though. Emotions are not don't equal weakness. No,
no.
emotions can be extremely strong, and a lot of emotions are strong. And the work of working with men and fathers is never to make them feminine. It's to allow them to express the same way of emotions that we allow our daughters to. But our daughters are allowed to express a wider range of emotions than our boys,
Mhm.
and they stifle them. Then that harms them, and a lot of that has to do with self-talk. As children grow up, we develop coping skills, and one of those coping skills are self-talk. And if our self-talk is very negative and very harmful and very limiting, if a boy thinks that he can't express his emotions in certain ways, and they have to come out in an unhealthy masculine way rather than the healthy masculine way, then he gets in trouble with the school system, or he gets in trouble with their law, he gets in trouble with the courts. And
Mhm.
as a result of that, then it changes the whole path of his life. So one of the most important skills, I think, is that men teaching boys healthy emotional regulation.
Okay. Like mentorship, fatherhood, is that what you're kind of going for? Yeah, that kind of relationship?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do think that single moms can raise healthy sons, but those sons at some point have to be able to connect in ways with men in their lives, because uh, women can teach boys about a lot of the skills they need, but boys need a masculine role model for a whole array of skills of how they interact with each other, how they nurture each other, how they respect each other.
Right, right. I love Chris Martinez's comment right there. Having a weekly Bible study group for men. Yeah, I think that's important too. And thank you, Chris, for bringing that up. Um, I appreciate that. I'll put that on the screen here.
Hmm.
So, yeah, yeah. So we kind of we touched on that a little bit already with the men having to have other men to do something with and actually have, like you said, a Bible study or bowling or or even both together combined, kind of thing. And
Well, in many cultures, they had a rite of passage from
Mhm.
boyhood to manhood and from girlhood into womanhood. And many cultures over thousands of years would have that way to distinguish between when a boy becomes a man and a girl becomes a woman. And it was usually done in the group, in the clan, in the tribe, in the how they would see what it took to be distinguished between being a boy and a man. And we
Mm,
look at in the United States, the rites of passage tend to be much more secular, unfortunately. At 16, getting a driver's license, at 18, registering for the selective service system, at 21, being able to legally drink. But those rites of passage, they are important for girls and for boys. But for
mhm.
people of faith, then we can have things like communion and confirmation and those rites of passage as well. And in other cultures, they have their own. And when children don't necessarily have that and don't have, in my opinion, don't have healthy men around to teach them that this is how you respect women, this is how you respect people of different cultures, this is how you handle yourself when you're angry or lonely or afraid or tired or feeling guilty or whatever those are, that to allow them that opportunity to figure out what is going to be their path as they grow into manhood, and what is acceptable and what isn't, and then what are the sanctions, because the sanctions with the Department of Justice tend to be pretty horrible.
Yeah.
So we need to do it before law enforcement gets involved.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think Chris had another comment here we'll put on.
Right, grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles, multi-generational.
Emotions.
That yes, that again, in many cultures, you see that with the tribes we work with. They're very there's one of the most important elements of most traditional Native cultures is respect for elders. That
Mm.
the elders have achieved a status because they've lived long enough and they've learned enough to be successful in however they define success in their clan or their group or their family. But the elders teaching the younger their wisdom, their skills, the ways of their traditions of what to do and what not to do because it disrespects their group is also very important.
Got it. Got it. I'm learning a
One,
lot from you.
one of
I hope other people are too. You're very
the
knowledgeable, Neil, and I thank you for coming on and teaching us.
sure.
Uh,
I teach anger management for men and for fathers, and one of
okay.
the tools that I've learned is to make a distinction between reacting to a situation and responding to a situation. When we react, it's totally emotional.
Mhm.
In traffic and we're stuck and we're in a hurry, or someone says something disrespectful about us, or we have some other stressful situation. When
And
we
it just
react, we just let our
wells up.
emotions.
Yeah.
We let
Yeah.
our emotions take over. When we consciously choose to respond to the situation, then we're stepping back and dealing with fact, and we're dealing with a choice rather than just an automatic uh, impulse. And when we let our impulses go and they're not channeled in healthy ways, that again is one of those things that I think is important in helping us keeping families safe. In the 80s, I used to work with men who bettered their female partners when I was in the Twin Cities. And that was one of the techniques we used is that just because you learned that when you were a child, seeing your father, adult male figure, hurting women and children, that doesn't give you permission to perpetuate it for another generation. So it explains
Right.
why they think that way, but it doesn't excuse them from perpetuating that same violence.
What was the term you used the other day? Something like get, keep the good,
Oh yes,
get rid of
as
the bad.
parents, as parents, I've been a parent educator for 40 years, and one of the things I've learned is that as parents, we keep the good, we toss the bad, and we learn the new. Because a lot of times we have old tapes, and even now I know that we don't use tapes, but the idea we have old tapes, and so when we're
Your head.
stressed, when we're angry, when
Yeah.
we're sad, when we're lonely, we go to those old tapes. And if we have tapes that we know aren't healthy, we need to say, I don't want to go that path. I'm not going to choose that. So we
Yeah, you
so
don't
we
want to
toss
try.
the bad. We keep the good because a lot of times we did learn very good things from whoever raised us, our
Mhm.
parents, our abuelas,
Yeah.
whoever it was. And and then the third is we learn the new because I'm 75. So what I've
Mhm.
learned when in the 50s and 60s is not really what works today when it comes, for example, technology. I'm a
Mhm.
dinosaur when it comes to technology. So we
Me
need to
too.
learn more skills
Too, and I'm
and
49.
new
So,
practices. Sure.
yeah. Yeah. All right. So, um, you know, kids really, no matter how old you are or anybody else is, the lessons are there to be learned, and they really need those lessons, honestly. Not just kids, but men, everybody that has a
Sure.
family, they really could use a lot, and learn a lot from you. I could have used you not that long ago for anger management myself because my father didn't know how to, you know, um, didn't know how to regulate his emotions. And so he raised me more like a boy than he did a
Oh,
girl. So I stuffed all my emotions my whole life. I
sure.
wasn't allowed to express my emotions ever. And so I had so much anger. And the Lord has worked on me a lot the last few years so that I don't have anger anymore. And that's why. Um, I feel like you're so important to kids right now, anytime, honestly.
Thank you.
Uh,
I do
so
think
I'd
that
love to have you more a little bit more on our website on it'sanewworld.org as well, just for that reason, so that kids can grow up healthy in their emotions and stuff.
Sure.
So,
I don't think people traditionally don't change unless there's more benefit to change than not to change. So that was the question from John Clark. People don't quit smoking until there's more benefit to stop smoking than there is to continue smoking. I think it's the same way for any habit change, any behavior change. When we see the benefit to change, and for some, it might be going through treatment for alcohol or drug dependency. For others, it might be going to court for anger management or domestic violence. And those tend to be a little bit more radical. But the idea is that when people want to change, when there's more benefit to change, then they're willing to do so. For others, I think it's just helping shape children at a young age, and being conscious about that at a young age. That what we do is if we realize that what we're taught isn't working. There's a term toxic masculinity that I'm tired of hearing, but the idea of that is, if it isn't working for us, asking our 17-year-old son what's working for you and what isn't working for you. One of the things I find a lot with adolescents and young adults is when they're dealing with stress, there's some distinctions that what I've learned from other men who deal with anger management is that often depression is a result of our past, and anxiety is a concern for our future. So, just making a simple distinction. Oftentimes people are depressed because of some incidents that happened in their past. And you can't change it, but you can change how you respond to that observation. And anxiety tends to be our concern for what's going to happen in the future, because we can't predict it. And if we have something stressful coming up, a court date or anything that's important, an exam even, and we don't know how we're going to do in school on a test, then there has to do with the response to those. Then also on vulnerability, I think we need to see more male role models who are really clear about it's okay to be vulnerable. There are times I'm afraid, it's okay. There are times I'm sad. We do. There are certain times we do allow men to. If a man loses his father, I don't know anybody that, then we say, well, then it's okay to cry, but not other times. No, it's silly. So part of, again, is going back to our self-talk. What do I tell myself about each situation?
Okay. All right. So I answered Chris's question on what the book was and where he can get it. I put your email there for him, so he can reach out to you.
$15 plus $4 mailing, postage. Okay. And as I said, the proceeds from it are going to go then to a nonprofit working in foster care here.
Okay.
And I have the book ready to show on the camera.
I know, and I can't get it up.
Right, Betty, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Foster care nonprofit.
Yes.
But what I will do is I will add it to my LinkedIn profile where we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, I believe. So I will add it to that as well and give out your email.
John Clark, yes. I have been able to have the luxury because of the field I work in. I work in the fatherhood field, and it tends to be men of many different cultures who are pretty healthy themselves, who want to encourage and embolden and empower other men to be the kind of father their children need. So if there's a way to find them through our community of faith, through our neighborhood, through groups in our communities, I find that the fatherhood field itself is very small. There are very few men who work to promote healthy fatherhood. But for those who are, they tend to be very supportive. So looking for men who are open to nurturing healthy relationships with other men, talking about our kids, being able to brag about our daughter hitting a home run or our son getting an A in physics, whatever it is. Just finding pockets growing that circle. And I think communities of faith are a great way to do that. As you mentioned, the Bible study, that can be one that's they need. Oh yeah, men need reassurance. Yeah, a lot of times what I
Yeah.
found in what women want, and I don't want to distinguish too much, like the opposites of men and women, but often women want to be listened to, and men want to be appreciated,
Reassured.
and especially in male-female committed relationships in a marriage. She wants him often to listen to what she's saying, not to fix things, but just to listen. And a lot of times we guys, deep down, we just want to be appreciated. If we work long hours, if we go outside in the cold and take care of the car, or rake the leaves, or shovel the snow, or whatever it is, men want to be appreciated, and moms want to be listened to. And it's a very simplistic, because it's obviously more complex than that. But when men feel reassured by the people that they care about, it really helps them continue doing this tough stuff that we need to do
In life, just basic everyday life.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I just learned recently, and my husband loves it. Yeah, because we were struggling for a while, and I just learned that. So, okay. So, okay, let's see. Let me just respond to Chris here real quick.
Sure.
Chris, the book is Hannah's Yucky
Alphabet Soup.
Alphabet Soup.
We hope to have the website up in the next few weeks.
For now, you can reach out to Neil via email at Neil Tift. Is it Neil Tift at yahoo.com?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. All right. That's in the chat, Chris. All right. So I think we've covered quite a bit, Neil. And so I'm going to let you go because you've been on here for like 35 minutes already and you've spent a lot of time with us and I appreciate it.
Glad to.
Yeah, so I'm going to end the live and, I'll be in touch too so we can add a little bit more here and there for girls as well and stuff like that. And okay, so Chris, I see you said you can't see the chat. So reach out to Neil Tift at yahoo.com.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Anyone, if you're interested, please do so.
Yeah, and it's $15 per book plus shipping. And
Right.
I think it's mostly for kids age 4 to 10-ish.
Right.
Group.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So, all right. We will talk to you again soon. Okay, Neil, and because you
All
seem
right.
to have a really great response with the people on
thank
LinkedIn.
you.
They're like they couldn't wait to come see you. So, okay, the name of the book is Hannah's Yucky Alphabet Soup.
Right.
You can reach out to Neil Tift. Neil, do you have a LinkedIn profile?
I do. It's just Neil Tift.
Yep, just look him up on Neil Tift on LinkedIn. Okay, and he's out of Mesa, Arizona.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
all.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for
Bye.
joining us.